With the wizard gone, the silo unbarred, bread rose once more in the ovens. The belly swelled content with wheat, ale foamed in the tavern again, the sound of laughter stitched through the lanes, the children's games filled the village greens. Emma and Arn, inseparable as always, seemed among the happiest, running wild between cottages, stealing apples from the orchard, and sharing freshly baked, warm loaves of bread between each other. It felt good, I can tell you, to have things finally return to normal again. Folk spoke easy words, and the market stalls grew bright with baked goods, with honey, with baskets of eggs. For a while, it seemed as though the dark months had only been a bad dream. But the memory of such shadows does not loosen so quickly. Arn lingered by the river's edge, a stick in hand, tracing circles on the water as though testing its secrets. The current glimmered deceptively gentle, catching the late sun in shards of silver. He'd been gone for some time, and Emma, worried, was walking the familiar lane that wound down from the village. Calling out Arn's name at first, her voice light, then sharper. She carried the ease of habit in her step. How many times had she fetched her brother? Yet today the air was heavy, the hush of the river carrying more than its usual song. When she came upon him, standing ankle deep with his trousers rolled, she felt a pang of unease. Arn turned, grinning, fearless as always, the water circling at his shins. That afternoon, by the bend of the river, where the water ran fast over slick stone, Arn waded out. As the water's chilly fingers reached out and pulled Arn in, Emma's scream split the air. Without pause, she plunged in after him, her skirts turning to stones around her ankles, arms clawing through the foam. She caught his sleeve once, twice, but the river twisted them apart. Arn's eyes were wide, his mouth open to the water, arms flailing. Emma kicked hard, dragging him close, their heads breaking the surface together in a choking grasp. "Hold on," she gasped. She found him and bore him up, coughing to the shallows. He lived, spluttering river water from his lungs. But Emma, spending all her energy on the rescue, could not fight the current that tugged at her leaden skirts, and under she went. When at last the villagers drew her out, she lay still upon the bank, her hair fanned like riverweed in the mud, her lips drained of colour, her chest unrisen. Over the course of the next month, Arn was not the first to relapse into madness. Men were found clawing at their own arms until blood ran dark. Women babbled at two unseen figures that crowded only their minds. Children shrieked as if chased by spectres. Smoke from untended hearths curled into the sky. Food laid rotting in kitchens. Dogs barked at shadows and would not be stilled. Wherever one turned, the curse gnawed, breaking every tie that had held neighbour to neighbour. Desperate, the villagers sought the church, the last refuge of order. Yet its heavy doors were barred, and from the high windows poured the priest's ravings. Wild as a storm he swore was at the gates, when fists hammered the oak doors and voices begged for sanctuary. Lit torches rained down from the belfry, scattering the crowd in fire and ash. "Father, please open the doors!" the villagers cried, desperate to repent for any and all sins they could summon to spare them from being taken by this unholy disease. "No! The devil walks in you!" he shrieked. His face lit hellishly from the flame. "And I alone shall stand against him." Abandoned and hopeless, the people fell into despair. They huddled in their cottages, shutters nailed fast, listening to the mad toll of the bell that rang day and night without pause. And though none dared give it voice, all felt the same creeping dread. The wizard had not been banished at all. His hand lingered still, unseen, but inexorable, drawing tighter and tighter the invisible snare about their throats. Arn, half mad with grief, clawed at the church doors until his nails split. He felt the hairs on the back of his neck flourish. A hush fell over the square, and a presence behind him. Turning, he saw him, the Red Wizard, cloaked and still as a statue, eyes glimmering like coals. In a moment of startling clarity, Arn fell to his knees, clutching at the crimson hem. "Forgive us," he sobbed. "Lift this curse." The wizard's hand rose, pale against the dusk. He pointed to the grain barn. "Sacrifice must be made." From the shadows, the priest charged, torch raised. His strike never landed, though. The wizard dissolved like vapor, leaving only the echo of laughter. Arn bolted for the silo. The priest, seeing him run and roaring mad, pursued. They tumbled inside, the heavy doors slamming shut behind them. Within, wheat shifted underfoot, the air thick with chaff. Inside the barn, as Arn wrestled with the priest, a flame leapt free from the torch in his hand, and the dry grain seized it greedily, and the fire surged. The door would not open. The cries within were muffled, then silenced, swallowed by the roar. Inside, Arn had hurled himself at the priest, clawing for the torch that spat and hissed in his hand. The old man's eyes burned with a madness brighter than the flame. His mouth frothing, prayers turned to curses. They staggered among the sacks of grain, spilling wheat like sand as they grappled, Arn's small frame desperate against the priest's wiry strength. The torch struck the floor, rolling, catching dry husks that leapt at once to fire. Heat surged up their legs. Arn wrenched the priest's wrists, driving the brand away. But the man only laughed, a shrill, broken sound, and forced them both against the silo's wall. Smoke thickened, sparks bit at their clothes, and with one last desperate shove, Arn sent them both crashing into the heap of kindling grain. The villagers outside heard the struggle, the screams, the roar of flames. They hurled themselves at the barn door, fists bruising, splintered, lodging into their palms. "Father! Father!" they cried, as though his voice might still answer through the smoke. Some ran for buckets, slopping water from the well. Others thrust crowbars and hooks between the planks, trying to wrench them free. The wood glowed hot beneath their hands, blistering to the touch. The roof belched sparks in the darkening sky. A gout of fire clawed its way through a seam in the boards, and the crowd stumbled back, choking on smoke and ash. Forced back by the heat, still they shouted, desperate, their words lost in the thunder of the blaze. The villagers tried to douse the blaze, bucket by bucket, but the inferno would not yield. By dawn, the barn was ash, and with it, the priest and the boy. A week passed. The madness ebbed, fingers pinkened, fits faded, eyes cleared. They were saved, though none understood how. The wizard was gone. His wagon had vanished without wheel tracks. Some said that he was a fraud who poisoned them all. Others whispered he was no man at all, but some wandering power that fed and cursed in equal measure. the truth may never be known. But as a caution, the villagers burn their fields after every harvest. No one remembers when it first began now, but it's as common as prayer. Fire sweeping the stubble, smoke coiling in the sky, a ritual of fear dressed as tradition. And the children, who never saw the Red Wizard but grew up on stories of him, sing their cautionary rhymes in the lanes. Drink the red, red wine, burn the hay on time. What was terror is now woven into play. Well, dear listener, that's all I've got time for. If you enjoyed my tale, please consider subscribing and liking for more. But until next time, I'll just say, if you have been, thank you for watching, thank you for listening. The roads are long and winding, but they have a way of crossing again. So when next you find yourself wandering this way, you'll know where to find me. Safe travels.